Hello. Um, am I audible to all of you? If you can, just say hi, hello in the chat box so that we can see that you have joined. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Um, Great. We'll just wait for a couple of more minutes before we start so that if others are there, we can join them. Good afternoon. Great. Could you let us know in the chat where you are all joining in from? I'm joining from Bangalore in India. Where is that you're all based out of? And is it a morning, afternoon, evening? Do let us know that as well. Good morning from UK. Nice to have you here. Hello from Nigeria. Good morning from Western Africa. Good morning from Ghana. Nice to have you all here. Utopia. It's amazing. Okay, I think we can get started. Welcome everyone. Super excited to be here. My name is Saurabh, and I'll be walking you through some important topic related to SQL. Super excited to be here. Very warm welcome to everyone. Let's get started. Let me set some guidelines for this particular session. So this session is only on the listen only mode. That means we cannot unmute and ask any particular question. So any question that you have, anything that you want to share, anything that is on your top of your mind and you want to ask related to the topic, you need to make sure that you're using the chat box. The chat box is open. Please ensure if you're asking any question, set the question to everyone so that the others can also read your question. If you want to ask any particular question to the program team is here. So do ensure to ask your questions in the chat box. Please note as we go along, maybe it can happen that because of some internet issues, you may not be able to attend the full session. In that case, do not worry. The session recording will be shared with all of you. Session material will also be shared with you. So whatever email address you have used to sign up for this particular webinar, please refer to that email and you will be getting the session material, the session recording in your email box. Okay, just in case if somebody asks this particular point, please help them answer that yes, the session recording as well as the session content will be shared with all of you over the email. At the end of the webinar, there will be a small feedback form. So do ensure to fill it up. It helps us improve on the deliverables of this particular session. Okay, so just to reiterate, it's a listen only mode session. So the only way that we can communicate is through the chat box. So please be very active in the chat box. Please say yes, no. If I'm asking you whether you got the concept, you want me to repeat something. So feel free to use the chat box as much as possible. And the session recording and the material will be shared with all of you over the email that you have registered for the program. And of course, a feedback form is what we expect you to fill. Okay, so with that in mind, let me start off with my introduction. My name is Saurabh. I'm currently joining in from Bangalore in India. I've got about almost around 10 years of experience in the domain of data science and analytics. I've worked in different verticals. For example, I started off my career working with Walmart for about almost 4 years. I was working with Walmart in their supply chain domain, in their healthcare domain. I've worked with them in their e-commerce domain and their supply chain domain as well, right? So I spent my first 4 years of my career working with Walmart, which is one of the largest retail companies in the world. After Walmart, I got an opportunity to work with Airbnb. So, in case anyone is looking for a remote job in a very high tech environment, Airbnb is one of those companies that definitely you should target. And the best part about Airbnb is that the quality of the data is really amazing. So, if you're somebody who wants to work on quality data, Airbnb is one of those companies that you should definitely target. Uh, so I was there for about 2 years during the time when there was, there was the pandemic, but it also enabled me a lot of learning about product analytics and product development. After which, I got a chance to work with LinkedIn. I'm pretty sure all of you are on LinkedIn, active on LinkedIn, visiting LinkedIn. So I was there on the jobs part of the LinkedIn. So LinkedIn has like two parts. One is your jobs part, the other is a social media part. So I was part of their jobs teams, and we would help some of the big companies in the world find the best talent available with the help of data and insights that we have on our tool. Uh, so that is where I worked for about 3.5 years. And since last, say, 3 or 4 months, I've joined this e-commerce company in India, which is Meesho, and I'm working as a senior manager in data science and analytics there. So this has been my career with great learning. I've been associated with them for about 3+ years and have been delivering many sessions, almost 400 to 5 hours, 500 hours of delivery I've already completed. So super excited. I'm also sure that you are also excited to know a bit about this domain of data. I'm sure you would be hearing a lot about data, and I'll be giving you the walkthrough about how this particular tool called as SQL is used in this whole process. Okay. So going forward, how's the agenda going to be looking like? So we'll be going into, what is analytics, how analytics is used, all the details related to analytics I'll cover first. After that, we'll be looking into this coding language called as SQL, how it is used, why it is used. I'll give you some examples. I'll show you some codes. We'll try to understand like how it is implemented in the real world. Then we'll talk about any questions and answers that you may have. So I'll try to take that up, and I'll share my mentoring experience if required. And we have one amazing program called as Data Analytics Essential Program, which we will also give you the overview about. So that's in the line, that's in the agenda for today. Let me get started. First, I'll give you like what is data analytics, how it is used, and what is the importance of SQL in the whole analytics space. Okay. Now what happens is I'll give you some explanation using the whiteboard. Um, Usually what happens whenever a human interacts with the machine, can we say the data is getting generated? Isn't it? Um, when a human interacts with the machine, can we say the data is generated? For example, if you're on your mobile phone, you go to Instagram, you spend some time on Instagram, does it lead to new data? Does it create new data? Does it create the information about when did you log in, where did you log in, which post did you see, which post you did not see, which post you like, which post you commented on? Can I say all of that data gets added in the gets created and generated? What do you think? Yes or no? Every time a human interacts with a connected device or a machine, can I say that the data gets generated? No. How is that possible? So every time you're using your mobile phone, every time it is connected to internet, can I say it collects all the information? How does he know like which post do you I should be showing it to you? How does he know like what relevant ad should I be showing it to you? Is it all because of the data that they're collecting? Am I correct? Do you agree with this line? Yes. So every time a human interacts with a machine, the data gets generated. Now what happens? In any organization that you go, can I say they have to kind of, if I were to describe the job description of every role that is available, it's more like this. There are business problems, right? There are business problems, and to solve that, and if you solve that particular problem, you need to make decisions, right? There are business problems, and you need to make decisions. Can we use data to make that particular decision? If a company is facing some problem, let's say the sales in a particular company is going down, can they make some decisions based on the data? Can I say that data can help them drive better decisions? What do you think? This is a journey. Point A is your business problem. Point B is your decision. Can I say it can be driven by data? The data that we are collecting because of this information that we are collecting of the users, can we utilize that for making many decisions? Agree? Yeah, absolutely. Now, why? And why is it that data is beneficial? Let's take a very, very simple example. Let's say you are running a small ice cream store. Okay, a very, very small ice cream store you're running, and you are very data savvy, tech savvy. And because you are very data savvy, tech savvy, you capture the data in the sales. And this is what you get. You get the temperature and you get the sales in unit. Okay. Now, the thing that you observe is at 10, the sales is around 100. At 20, the sales is around 200. At 30, the sales is around 300. At 40, the sales is around 400. Now, if this pattern holds true going forward as well, if we rely on this pattern, and if this pattern holds true for a while, can you predict or can you tell me what will be the sales at 45 degrees Celsius? If this continues to happen, if this pattern continues to follow the trend, what would be the sales at 45? It would be 450, 45. I'm not asking about 50, 45. Any guesses? Will it be 450 by 500? I'm asking about 45. It will be 500. No, look at, no, it's increasing by 100, right? It is 10x is the variable. So 45 into 10, it is 450. It will be 450. Okay, so if you know that the number will be 450, what will be the value at 45? If this patterns hold true, if this patterns hold true, what will be the value at 45? That is the question. For 10, it is 100. For 20, it is 200. For 30, it is 300. For 40, it is 400. So for 45, it will be 450. Okay, now if you know this number beforehand, if you know this number before this temperature reaches 45, will it help you plan your inventory better? What do you think? Yeah, because you know 450 units of the ice cream will be sold. Will it help you plan your inventory better? Will it help you plan your human resource better? Yeah, because for handling so many ice creams, you need more people. So will you be able to plan your human resource better? Will it help you plan your cash flows better? What do you think? Yes, absolutely yes. Now, can I say that if the companies rely on data for driving decision, they end up making better decisions or they end up making accurate decisions, much more accurate decisions? If you're relying on data for driving decisions, can I say this is one of the best ways to drive correct decisions? Agree? Yeah. So can I say that in today's world, every company, every organization, every department, every vertical is kind of relying on data for driving these particular decisions? If there is no data, they are probably not so comfortable in making that decision. For example, hiring. Even in hiring, we do a lot of data analysis. If the company wants to launch a new product, can I say they do a lot of data analysis? If you want to know which customers are at a risk of leaving, you do a lot of analysis. If you want to know which product should be kept in a retail store beside another product, can I say data is used? So everywhere, whatever decisions that you see around you, because data can give you like good patterns and good results, the companies are using it for driving decisions. Okay, now comes the main part. This is the data, and we need data for doing the analysis. Now, how does that data gets created? How does the processing happen? Where it is stored? And what do we do about it? Let's try to understand that. So what happens is, follow this diagram, which is at the bottom. Now, what happens is, let's say if the human is interacting with the mobile phone, yeah, this first part that I said, and the data gets created, do you think that data is in a table format that can be directly used at the point of inception when that interaction is happening and getting stored? Just as we speak, for example, we are having a Zoom call. As we are speaking, some data is getting created. Do you think then and there it is stored in the form of a table exactly at that period of time when this data is getting created? Any guesses? Is the data getting stored in a form of a tables or in a structured manner? Not really, because it's very difficult. At the point of interaction, it is a normal data. It's like a flat file. It is not in the form of the tables. It is not stored in the form of a structure, right? It is just a dump. Whatever information is getting created, that gets dumped onto this location called as a data lake. So can I consider on this lake, just like your lake, can your lake have uncleaned water? Normal lake that you see around you, can it have unclean water? Yes. In a similar way, can I say that at the data lake is like your Google Cloud, if you have heard about GCP, if you have heard about Azure, if you have heard about AWS, a dump where all the data that the company needs, which gets generated because of the interaction of human and machine, gets dumped onto this location called as data lake. From this particular data lake, can I say that we need to do certain transformation to bring it into a shape? Because right now it is not in the form of any shape. It's just a dump, right? So what we do a process called as ETL. ETL stands for extract, transform, and load. Means you will extract out of all the information that you have created or stored. You don't need all of that. So you'll decide which information you need. You will extract that information. Absolutely correct. You will extract that information. You will do some transformation. You will try to bring it in the form of a table, isn't it? The transformation here means you're giving a shape. You're giving a shape in the form of a table. And once that particular table comes into picture, can I say that it will be stored somewhere else? At the initial stage, the data does not have a shape or a form. It is given a shape or a form by using this process of ETL. It creates a table. Now what happens? It gets stored onto this location called as a data warehouse. Have you heard the term warehouses in the retail world? There is a store which is a retail store, and then there is a warehouse. Have you come across the term warehouse before? If not data warehouse, have you heard the term warehouse? Anyone? Yes. So if there is a warehouse, you've not heard the term warehouse. Warehouse is nothing but where all the goods are stored. So let's say if you're selling televisions, you will have for display two televisions in the store, and in the warehouse you will have all the televisions. So which place stores more data, the retail store or the warehouse? Which location stores more data, warehouse or the normal retail one? Like if you are a retailer, where will more goods be stored? Warehouse. So now what happens? All this extraction that happens gets stored onto the warehouse. So can I consider companies all the data from the start of its inception till date, last 10 years, 15 years, 20 years data? Can I say it will be stored in data warehouse? Every information about the customer that they have captured, can I say it will be stored here? Yes. Now, do we need on a day-to-day basis, do we need all of that information that you need to go back 15 years back, 10 years back, 12 years back? In our day-to-day analysis for data, do we need to go back that long period? No. So what the companies do is from the data warehouses, they create something called as a database. Now, this database stores the data of last 5 years. Is that enough for anyone to do any analysis on? Say last 5 years of data, all the transaction, all the information, all the customers, whatever is required, that 5 years of data gets stored onto this location called as a database. Okay, now let's try to understand what is this database so that you understand why SQL is so important. Um, have you have you seen an Excel doc anytime? Anyone? Like, have you seen an Excel document? Yeah. And whenever you open an Excel sheet, does it say book one? Have you seen this at the top written as book one? Yeah. Whenever you open an Excel sheet, does it say book one? And does this book one says sheet one, sheet two? Yeah. So can I consider Excel to be the collection of sheets? The Can I consider workbook, not Excel, workbook to be the collection of sheets? Correct? In similar way, there exists a thing called as a database. And what does the database contains? Database contains table one, table two, and so forth. So can I consider database to be storing tables? Does your database, if the word database comes to your mind, can I say it is nothing but collection of tables? Database is nothing but collection of tables. It has many tables inside him, right? Just like a workbook has collection of sheet, a database is a collection of tables. Now, is there anyone who thinks, hey, you know what? If you're storing the data in the form of a table, why do we need a database? Why do we can't just use Excel? Excel is also storing tables. So why not use Excel and instead of database? Can you think of any limitation of Excel? Limited storage, yes. Excel has very, very small storage. See, the storage issue can be fixed. But do you think many people can work on the same Excel sheet? Is that possible? Concurrency, as the word says. Can multiple people work on the same Excel data at one period of time? No, right? That is a bigger issue. And do you trust the security of the Excel? If somebody has the access to Excel sheet, can you update the information? Can you edit the information? If somehow you got the access to your Excel document, can you easily change it? Will you trust the information if it's coming from an Excel file? No, right? So can I say security, trust, and the size is a big issue. That's why we need a database which can cater to all of these issues, right? Because the security is an issue, concurrency is an issue, size is an issue, and that's why Excel is not the place where the data is stored. So in any organization, if they were to store this particular data, and if they that particular data is in the form of the table, where it will be stored? Final data, where it will be stored after the processing. What is that location called as? After the processing is done, after 5 years of data that you want, where will this large amount of data be stored? It will be stored in a location called as, please remember the term. This location is called as, no, data lake is at the start. Where is that final data, that is usable data, is stored? It is stored in a location called as, please remember this term. It is very, very important. It is stored in a location called as the database. So can I consider the database to contain all the important information that the company needs about its user, customer, products, all of it, right? Now, what is that coding language that this database understands? This database needs a querying language. This database only understands one querying language. Can you take a guess which coding language he understands? The only coding language that this particular database understands is called as SQL, Structured Query and Language. The database does not understand Python. This database does not understand any other language. He only understands one coding language in the world, which is called as SQL. Now, can I say that no matter what analysis that you're doing, if you're doing an analysis on a table, yes, is the only language for tables. Exactly, because database is a collection of tables and he only works on database. So can I say that SQL is only querying language for tables? Absolutely correct, right? It is the only querying language for the table. All right, now what happens? No matter which domain you are in, anytime you have to do the analysis, can I say that you'll have to go to the database and write a SQL code? Unless and until you write a SQL code, you'll not be able to get the data. And if you don't get the data, you'll not be able to analyze it. So in this journey from going from business problem to decision, can I say everyone has to go to the SQL database, has to go to the database? So can we consider that this is the source of the data in any organization? Database is the source of the data in any organization. And because it is a source of data in any organization, we need to learn SQL so as to get the data out first. Of course, we'll do a lot of analysis and everything going forward. But the first part that we need to focus on is getting the data. And the only way to get the data is through the coding language called as SQL. Is it making sense why SQL is so important? Right? If the company wants to make any decision and they want to rely on data, can I say a data analyst or the person who is working with the data, he first needs to go to the SQL database and get the data out, extract the data? Agree with this particular point? Only then you can do all the analysis, you can do all the models and everything, isn't it? The first part in the whole process, the step one in the whole process is actually to go to the database and get the data out of the database. And in order to get the data from the database, which coding language helps? Only coding language that helps is your SQL. Is this making sense, all of you? What is the importance of SQL? Can I also say that? Can I also say that you cannot start your analysis without writing a SQL code? Can I go on to say that as well? Even if you're working on Excel, that data in the Excel actually comes from the database. You may not have observed it. That data is stored somewhere else. And that data comes from the SQL database. SQL is used for manipulation of data? No, I would say SQL is used for extraction of data, not manipulation. Because that is where my next slide was. Do you think everyone, that particular database, which is the collection of the table, do you think everyone will be given edit access to that tables? Do you think everyone in the organization should be given access to that table? No. So what SQL does is it has four different languages that you see, which is your DDL, DML, TCL, whatever it is. It has different languages based on the role. So if you are somebody whose only work is to extract the data, you will use this language called as DQL, which stands for data querying language. Meaning, if I'm a business analyst, if I'm a data analyst, if I'm a business intelligence engineer, the only access that is required from SQL is the data extraction access. So can I say that a person like me who's just doing data analysis, will he be given access to edit the table? Will he be given access to update the table? What do you think? No, right? Say, just imagine this world, right? Like if anyone is given access to edit the table, imagine you have access to HR database and you want a salary increment. Will you go to your boss? If you want a salary increment and you have the access to edit the tables, will you even go to your boss? No, right? What will you do? You will simply edit the table, right? So do you think that should happen in any organization? No. So can I say that even in the world of SQL, our roles are defined what kind of SQL language we use? If you have the access to edit the table, then only you will be able to create the table, drop the table, alter the table, and truncate the table. So that is the only part where you need this DDL language access. Now, can I consider that there will be small group of people who will be having access to edit the tables? Somebody will be having it, isn't it? Like, can I consider, say, data engineers or SQL developers to have that access? And even if they're having access, can they make any changes without any permissions? If a SQL developer thinks that he needs to change the data, no. So can I say there are control parameters, like they need to save it, they need to raise permissions, and only if that permission is approved, then only that changes goes live. Yeah. So if you see here on this particular diagram, the data manipulation part, data definition part, which is the table structure, data structure of the table, and inserting the values, deleting the values, updating the values. This all information is only given the restricted access to some people. So as a person who's working in a business analytics world, data analytics world, data science world, can I consider that we'll be using DQL, which is data querying language, which is only used for data extraction? Right? Even in SQL, because we want to ensure security, we want to ensure correctness of the data, even in that will be only be given to certain commands, only access to certain commands. Yeah, making sense of this part. So we'll be only using your DQL language. So we can't edit anything, we can't change anything in the backend. All right. Now, do you want to see some examples on how we can extract that particular information? The only part where we use the SQL is to extract the data. Once we extract the data, we can analyze it. Now, let's see some examples on how we can extract the data from a SQL database. Okay, take this example. Um, do you see this table on the right? Is this visible? Yeah, let's observe this. It's very simple language to learn. Trust me, and it's very powerful because anytime you have to do the analysis, you have to go to the SQL database. Let's look at this. The marketing team, Sarah is a marketing manager at a subscription-based streaming service company. They collect the user data every time the user interacts with the platform, including did they like, did they dislike, or did they subscribe or not. Just imagine YouTube. So they want to understand uh, how many actions were taken by, like, what are the total actions that are taken by every user. So the marketing team frequently tell us their campaign and promotions to different customer segment. Leveraging the data derived from this extensive data repository can be of a great help. So we want to understand, how many likes happened, how many watch happened, how many subscribe happened through this particular table. Okay, there is this table where we have the user ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have his action, which is your watch, like, subscribe, watch, like, subscribe. And then we have the content that he watched, the content ID of the content that he watched. If it is subscribe, it will be null. Null means, anyone knows what is null? Null is your missing value. Can I say that? Null is nothing but no value, empty value. So if you are subscribing, will there be any content ID associated with that? If you go to YouTube and you subscribe, will any video ID be associated with that? Yes, no? Uh, no, no. Like if you go and subscribe, does it associate yourself? Like you're not watching any content when you are doing a subscription, when you're subscribing. So that's why it will be a missing value. Does it make sense now? When you're watching a certain content. So there will be a content ID. When you're liking a certain content, there will be a content ID. But you are subscribing. Is there any content available for subscription? Channel is available, right? Not the content. So can I say that is why it will be null here? Are you with me? Like why it is null means no value, missing value? Because the content is not there, right? When you're subscribing, there's no content and hence it will be a missing values. All right. Now what we need to do, we need to find out over the period of time, how many likes did we get? How many subscription did we get? And how many watch time did we get? So in that case, we write this SQL code, which is select. I want to know the action. Out of this particular data set, I want the column action. So I'll select the action. And then I want to know the number of times this particular thing happened. So if I use count star, if you read this count star means count the number of rows. So how many rows out of this table has the word watch? How many rows in this particular table has the word watch? 2. So this count star means how many number of rows are there for watch. So the answer will be 2. How many rows are there where we are seeing the word like? Any guesses? 2 times. And how many times are we seeing the word subscribe in the table? 1. So if you observe this particular code, we are saying take the action, select the action, count the number of rows for each action from the table user engagement. This is the table called as user engagement. And if you do so, you get this particular result. And when you're doing the counting, can I say that whenever you're doing this count of rows, are you dividing it by the action field? Whenever you're doing this count, are you dividing it by the action field? It is counting by the action. Yeah, you're dividing it, right? Like you're saying watch how many, subscribe how many, like how many. So you're dividing that particular count, right? So that division is called as group by. So you group your data and then do the count. You're grouping your data by watch, like, and subscribe, and then doing the count of the rows. So if you look at this code, the idea here is, if you look at this code, does it seem to be very difficult to understand? Any guesses? Like, are you able to understand it's more like an English that we have written? Get me action, get me the number of rows where this action is happening, divided by the field action. Is it easier to understand? And once you get the data, can you put a chart? Can you analyze it and figure out, are we getting more like? Are we getting more watch? Are we getting more subscribe? So can we easily understand what's happening here? Very good. Okay, want to take one more example? I know this is pretty new to you, but I want to give a gist about how easy it is to understand and how powerful it is to know this. So um, if you're okay with this, can I give you more examples? Yeah, let's see. Okay. Uh, let's say in the finance sector, can I say it is also used? I took an example of YouTube. Can I say the finance team would also be using SQL? Can I say they will be also using data? And if they are using, they should also be using SQL to get the data. Yeah, because the tables is stored in the in the form of the tables. Yes. Let's look at this. Jordan is a financial analyst at a multinational corporation tasked for monitoring and reporting the company's expenditure across different departments. Okay, the corporation maintains the database with the table named expenditure. So this table is called as expenditure and logs every financial transaction categorized by department, amount, and date. So you have a transaction ID. Every time a transaction happens, we have a transaction ID. Then we have the department where this transaction happened. And then we have the amount of the transaction that happened. Okay, and then we have the date. So let's say for 1 month of February, I want to understand what is the total expenditure that we spent. So can I say that I'll have to filter the data out of all the data available here? I only want the data of February. So can I say I'll have to filter the data? Just imagine that you're doing this in Excel. If you have got this particular data, will you first filter it for the month of February? So can I say that I'll apply a where clause, right? I'm saying where transaction date between 24/24/01/24/02/28, isn't it? So can I say this will only give me the data of February? Right? We need to filter it a lot of times. So in order to filter, the word that we need to use is where. That's it. So we are saying, okay, get me the data from the expenditure, not all the rows, only the data which is part of these two dates, which is between these two dates. Now, once I get that data, I want to take the sum. I want to take the sum of the amount for every department. For example, marketing has two rows, 4,500 plus 5,000. So how much did the marketing spend in total? 9,500, correct? Um, how much did the sales team spend? Only one entry is there. So 3,200. How much did IT spend? 6,000. How much did HR spend? 2,500. So what are we doing? We are saying select department, show me the department. For every department, take the sum of amount. He takes the sum of amount from the table expenditure, which is available here. I don't want the entire data. I want the data for certain date. So I'm applying the date filter. And after that, this sum, I don't want overall sum. I want this sum to be divided by department. So can I say I'll use group by department? If I wanted the overall sum, I won't have used group by department. If I want the sum to be divided by department, I'm using group by department. And once you get the data, do you think it will be better if I arrange it in a particular order? Right? The output that you are getting, will it be much easier to understand if you order it probably in ascending or descending order? Yes. And this is what gives you this particular data. Now, can you easily analyze that, hey, you know what, marketing is spending a lot of money? From this, can we easily get the insight that marketing is one who's spending extremely high amount of money? They have the highest expenditure, correct? Very good. Again, looking at the code, does it seem readable, understandable, something which is that you can easily understand? Isn't this much like how you work on Excel, but not with the functions, but with the help of the code? Exactly what you do in Excel, like you'll filter and if you know pivot table, you would have got the same answer using pivot table. We don't have pivot table, so we use group by. So it's exactly the same. It's just that it's on a larger data and it is on the database. So you just need to make sure that you learn this part. Let's take one more example. I want to know the count of the visitors for every department, right? There are some medical related data. There's a large amount of data of the hospital, and I want to know the number of visits the patients are making, right? So in that case, again, can we do the same example that we did in the first one? Take the department and do the count of the rows for every time that department name is coming, isn't it? For example, cardiology is coming two times. So the number of rows where cardiology is present, it is two. So I'll get a two. Number of times general medicines is present, it is only one. Number of times orthopedics is present, only one. Number of times numerology is present is only once. So if I take the department, counted by this, count the number of rows that department is coming, I can get the number of visits happening in that particular department. Can this help us analyze in which department are we observing more issues or more patients? Easily we can find out that cardiology is the one where we see more patients. Okay, so this is what I had to show you. Does it help you in understanding like why SQL is so important? And is it something that you can easily pick up? Does that give you this confidence? Yes, no? Um, for sure, yes. At least you got a takeaway that we can get a lot of insights from the SQL. And can I say it is very, very important to learn SQL if you were to get the data out of the system? Everything starts with the basics. Okay, great. Do you have any questions for me, or I hope I have. Um, hey,
Yes, Saurabh.
Praveen, would you want to take
Sure.
over, answer the question
Yes,
till I
yes,
take the second time?
yes.
I think it's actually easier to understand because we can use the real world to do this. Yes, like I said, SQL is more English. It's just simple English. You are translating SQL to an English language. No, group by is grouping, order by is order. So, for example, if you go to any e-commerce website and you want to sort it by the price, that becomes order by. And if you want to see it by category, let's say you want to only look for shirts, t-shirt, that shirt, t-shirt is your group by. How is SQL been used on a CSV file? You need to import that SQL to a database, and then you can use that then you can write a SQL code on top of it. What's the difference between P-SQL, MS-SQL, SQL? Okay. See, do you know that spreadsheet is made by three different companies? There's Apple who has a spreadsheet. There's Microsoft Excel which has a spreadsheet, and nowadays you have Google Sheet as a spreadsheet. So if you know one, does it make can you easily adopt to the other two? If you know Excel, can you easily learn maybe Google Sheets? Yes. So in similar ways, can I say that for making the database, for storing the data in the database, there could be different companies who would be creating these databases. So there could be one company which is called as MySQL, which is from Oracle. So Oracle created its own system. There would be one software which would be created by pSQL, which is another company. So at the end of the day, there are different companies who create this database. But can I consider that their core data will remain the same, their core functions will remain the same? So if you know how to use, say, some group by, order by in one place, can you easily apply it on the other place? If you know how to use MySQL, can you easily apply it on pSQL? Yes, because the core construct of the database remains the same. Okay, so these are just different companies manufacturing or having a software for database management. Examples of database, there are many. Oracle database is very popular. It's made by Oracle. Presto is one which is made by Facebook. Right? So you'll have like many database. The core language of every database is your SQL. Awesome. Uh, Website, I'll suggest one in the chat box. It's a very good website, which is your sqlzoo.net. Okay, this is my favorite. Go through it and let me know if you like it. Okay, great. Yeah, Praveen, I guess you can take it up.
Should I? Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
Thank you so
Uh,
much, Saurabh, for
Okay.
wonderful insights. So let me first share my screen and I will take you forward from this point about the program details. So hello everyone. I hope my screen is visible. Okay, so the program which we are talking about is Data Analytic Essential Program. It is a program for 13 weeks, and the program is going to be included of recorded as well as your live mentoring sessions, which is going to be delivered to you considering you as a working professional will have a time requirement accordingly. So what does it mean? It means that Monday to Friday you will have your recorded lectures, which is recorded by the faculty of UT Austin, and over a weekend, which is either on Saturday or on Sunday, when most of the working professionals have their week off, will have their live sessions for 2 hours, which will be delivered to you by your mentors, and where you can ask questions, you can clarify your doubts, you can recap of your learning. So it is going to be an interactive session where you will have two-way audio video interaction with your mentor. Now, the additional point which will make a lot of difference here is that these live sessions are going to be delivered to you in a small forum of up to 25 learners, which means that you will have an opportunity to interact and ask questions simultaneously. Okay, and you can do networking as well. The program is going to have hands-on nature, which means you can ask questions and you can have projects which you're going to work upon in 13 weeks. So it is going to have three hands-on projects, which is going to be based on real-world use cases. So you will have an opportunity to do your transition of your theory into practical while being in the program for the duration of 13 weeks. All right. So the program is going to be very, very interactive and will have an exposure which is going to give you which is going to give you the real-time usage of your of your tools and technologies which you're going to learn being in the program. So the program is going to be divided over 13 weeks with the following schedule, where initial first few weeks you will have only focused on your pre-work, which is very important again. That includes your introduction to your Excel, your descriptive statistics, your key skills which are required to start the program will be part of your pre-work, and then it will be taken to your advancement towards learning SQL, which we were just talking about, which is understood by the presentation earlier. So you will learn about SQL, you will learn about Microsoft Excel Advanced, you will learn about Python programming, how to extract your data and analysis and uh, you know, uh, data-driven situations, how to be handled by using Python programming. All that will be taken care in the program. So the program is going to focus on key areas, which is including SQL, Python, Microsoft Excel Advanced, and then how to represent data by using a representation tool called Tableau. So that is what is going to be the major key points of the program. Along with you will learn about how to use data Python related libraries, which is NumPy, Pandas, and how to use them for exploring data analysis as well. So you will also see that the projects are very, very important, which I just mentioned is going to be included in between, and you're going to work along with the project simultaneously. So that is how this is how the program is going to be delivered to you over a period of 13 weeks. Data analytics, the vision, is it is going to help have your future focused professional skills. So the program is going to have you in a position where you can upskill yourself, use the data driven situations for your better decision making process. You can use data analytic methods, techniques, and algorithms. So all these is going to be the highlight of the program in 13 weeks. And once you complete the program, you're going to get your certificate of completion, which is going to be offered by the University of Texas at Austin. And your sample certificate will look like something like this. It is again very important. It comes with a unique QR code, which is flashed on your right hand side of the certificate, which is going to be scanned by anyone. You also use this certificate to put it on your LinkedIn profiles, where anybody can scan this code and can identify the authenticity and who has taken this program, what was the timeline and all. So that is again very good plus point. uh, how to process the application? It is very easy. You can use the application link which will be shared with you. You can complete your application by providing your education background, your professional background details by attaching your CV or your LinkedIn profile. Once your application is completed, it will be processed through screening and by the program office team. And once your screening process is completed, that means you're shortlisted for the program. You will be provided with the admission offer letter, which you can start with with the admission process. So this is it about the program. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and you can reach out to us by dropping your questions on the chat box as well. With regards to the amount of the program, your program advisors will reach out to you, and they will be guiding you towards the process, and they will be helping you to know about the program fee and the payment plan as well. The program is not on scholarship. It is a paid program, but yes, there will be some partial scholarships, which again will be offered to you once you are contacted by your individual program advisors. All right. Thank you so much. So, if there is no further question, then I would like to close. I think that is it. So, thank you so much for everyone once again, and thank you for joining.